In this video, we'll look at how to install Django in Microsoft Windows 10. All the commands used will be linked in the description below, or you can head to our blog site and search for Django installation in Microsoft Windows 10. Step number 1. Go to python.org and download Python, and the version we will install is 2.7.16. So I've already got the link and pasted it right in the blog. I will just copy that and put it on the browser and press enter, and the download will just start straight. But just in case you want to know how I get the link, you go to python.org. On the downloads, click Windows, select latest Python 2 release, Python 2.7.16. Alright, here you will see different versions. Alright, if you scroll down all the way down, you will see for 64-bit and also for 32-bit. So on my machine, I'm using 64-bit. So just in case you want the 32-bit, you can just come here and then click on that, and the download will begin. Alright, so since I already downloaded the Python, I will just head to my desktop where I already saved it and install it. That's Python 2.7.16. Double click it, and the installation is just straightforward. You select all install for all users. You go next again, leave the path as is, and click on next. I'm having this message because I once installed it on my machine, so it's seeing this path. Most likely on your machine you will not see this part, so you just have to click on next and then proceed. In my case, I'll have to select yes and click next again. Alright, so this is the most important part here. Make sure you select add python.exe to path. If not, you'll have to do it manually, and which is a little bit tedious. So I click on the X, or the red X, select will installed on local drive, and then click next. So this will prompt you to select yes for user account control. Just click on yes, and then the installation will continue. Alright, when the installation is finished, you just have to click on finish. When I go back to the blog site, you'll see that the next step is to set up PowerShell to allow us to run executable commands or executable files. So this is the command that we will select and run it in PowerShell. I'll just copy that and open PowerShell by pressing start button and type power, then right click on PowerShell and run as administrator, then select yes, then paste this command and press enter, select yes on that and press enter again. So this will tell PowerShell to allow us to run executable files. This is very important because we'll be running multiple commands in PowerShell. So we have to configure PowerShell to allow us to run those commands. Step number 3, verify that Python is installed correctly by typing python-v, and that's supposed to be capital V. So this is telling us that Python 2.7.16 is installed in our machine. Alright, so step number 4, install virtual environment. Alright, virtual environment. What are these virtual environment? We want to install Django, but probably in our machine we will install different applications for different projects or different organizations. So it would be best to have each of those applications having their own requirements within their own environment or within their own containers. So that's the function of virtual environment. It will allow you to organize your code. Each application will have their own requirement, like the type of dependencies that will allow you to run that particular app. But we'll see a lot more of virtual environment and a little bit more clarity when we go when we start building our application. All right, so to install virtual environment, I'll type pip virtual env. Oh, sorry, pip install rather virtual env. All right, so this will look for virtual environment and install it on your machine. In my case, since I've done it some time ago, it has already installed virtual environment and is telling me that requirement is already satisfied. But in your case, you will see the PowerShell will grab the file from, or they grab the virtual environment from the internet and download it and install it in your machine. And in this time, and you will have to connect to the internet before this command will run successfully. Step number 5. All right, from here we can now start creating virtual environments. But before that, I generally like to have my codes a little bit more organized. Like inside drive C, I'll create a new folder and call it Django apps. So in this Django app, I'll have different folders for different projects that I'm working on, or different application for different organizations. Like if I'm building application for XYZ company, I'll just come and type XYZ and I create all the virtual environment in that particular folder. Like in this case, we are building an inventory management system, or you can organize it based on the company that you're working for, or you can organize them based on the apps that you're building. In this case, we will create a new folder and call it comp inventory. So that means we are creating a folder, and in this comp inventory folder, we will put every single file that we use to work on this project, so that in the future, if I want to take this app and rebuild it, or maybe customize it, or I want to refresh my mind back onto how I built this, I'll just come, every single thing that I use for this project would be in this folder, not just the virtual environment only. But in this folder is where I'm going to install the virtual environment as well. So step number 6, we have to change directory to this folder and install virtual environment right in here for this project. I'll type cd // and then to Django apps, then to computer inventory, enter. So you can see I've changed directory from the 1632 to comp inventory, and right in here is where I'm going to install, or where I'm going to create the virtual environment. And the command to do that is to type virtual env, and the name of the virtual environment. In general, I call them venv. Like if I open that folder, you'll see a folder is created here, virtual environment or virtual env, or the name of the virtual environment that is specified in PowerShell. And if I open that, you can see it's creating a bunch of folders, and inside the script you can see a lot of different Python executable files that are built, or that are copied or installed in this directory. So all what this is doing is to isolate whatever you want to use for this app inside, and make it everything inside this particular folder. Alright, so we will, before we install any application in this virtual environment, we will need to activate it first. And to activate that is step number 8. We will activate the virtual environment before we start installing the prerequisites or the dependencies for this app. To activate the virtual environment, you cd into it, you change directory into that virtual environment. I just typed cd space v and then press the tab key. So you can see now I moved into the virtual environment, and I need to activate it now by typing /script and activate. So this right here, this folder in bracket, or this venv in bracket, is telling you that the virtual environment is activated. And now in here is where I'm going to install every single thing that I need for this project to run. And number 1, the most important one, the reason why we are even doing this video, is Django. So we'll have to install Django in this virtual environment by typing pip install Django. And we're installing Django version 1.8 because the project I am building, I built it in Django 1.8. I will do it again using Django 1.8, and the command to do that is pip install Django equals 1.8 and press enter. So this will go to the internet, grab Django 1.8 and install it in this virtual environment. Alright, so Django is installed, and to confirm that it's installed, we type pip freeze. And by the way, this command will show you every single thing that you install in this virtual env. All the requirements will be listed if you type pip freeze. Right here we see Django 1.8 is installed. Alright, so we will start creating Django projects, apps, and then run our apps. Okay, so I will create a Django project by typing Django admin start project, then the name of the project. I will call the project as Django project. And inside project you will have multiple apps. In a Django project, you will create a project, and within the project you create multiple apps. Like the project can be the big picture of what you intend to or get out of this project, and within that main project can have different apps like the inventory, you have the SMS app, or maybe the store, and all of them will be within that main project. Alright, so after the project is created, I will show you where the project is created in the folders. I'll go back one step. I'll go back to the venv, and within the venv, or let me close everything and then show you how the folder structured, or review the folder structure that we've been doing and which is going to Django apps. Then we created the computer inventory. Within the computer inventory, we created a virtual environment with the command virtual environment, then the name of the virtual environment. I'll open that, and within that environment is where we install Django and also install Django. And we use Django admin to create a project, and the project is in here. You can see if I go back, I open Django project folder. Within that project folder, you have manage.py file, and you have another folder called Django project. And if I open that, you will see settings, URLs, WSGI, and so on. If I go back one step, I will go back to computer inventory again, VENV, Django project, and within Django project, there's another folder called Django project. So I'll go back one step, and the main folder, the upper folder, the one that you click and see manage.py, we will rename it and call it SRC. SRC. All right, so that means our source code will be within this folder, and this will also help you to not confuse between the main folder and this project folder itself. So now if I go back to the command line, I do ls, I will see that I have include lib script source, and that's the same folder that I'm setting from the VENV. I'm right in the VENV folder, and that's what we are seeing here as well. If I do ls, we're seeing all those files and folders listed. So here I will now create a Django app by going into cd, by going into the project folder, or sorry, the source folder, by typing cd src, enter, and then type python manage.py start app. Then the name of the app, I will call it Django app. All right, so when I go back to the folders, or if I do ls here, you will see an app is created, and the app name is Django app. So the same thing is what we are seeing here. If I go into source folder, you have Django app, you have Django project, and this app we're going to register it within Django project. But before doing that, I'll run the app. You see that the app is running from the browser by typing python manage.py run server. Okay, so if you don't have any error and see this message, you know your Django is installed correctly. And from here we can type localhost :8000, and then we will see our app runs, and it says it worked. Congratulations on your first Django powered page. But before we close this video, we will have to tell Django to migrate all the tables that comes by default with Django, like the admin page and stuff like that, into our database. You'll understand a lot more when we continue with the application and start developing it further. Okay, I'll go back to PowerShell and stop the server by pressing Ctrl+C. All right, so now I will install Sublime, which is my favorite text editor, but you're free to use any version or any type of text editor you want to use, like Visual Studio Code, Commode Edit, PyCharm. A lot of different type are available, but Sublime is very light, and you can install it in Windows, Linux, so that's why I really like it. But if you want to stay really on Windows, you can install Visual Studio Code or Sublime. Any one of them will work fine. So I will head to the browser and download Sublime by going to sublimetext.com/3, and then look for the version I want. Like if I want to install it in 64-bit, I will just have to click on that, and the download will begin. But since I already downloaded it, I will just pause that and go to my desktop and install the one I already downloaded, which is right here on my desktop. By double clicking it and click on yes, click next, install, and as simple as that, Sublime will be installed on your machine, and you click on finish. All right, so let's open Sublime and do the last final step that we need to do before we can migrate all the files or all the table that come by default with Django. You will understand that better. Just do exactly what I'm doing, and when we start building the app further, you'll know what migrate is and make migration or stuff like that. I will type text editor, or I'll type Sublime, and click on that. Alright, so when Sublime is opened, you can just go to File, Open File. But generally what I will do is to show all the project folder, so that I can just move from one folder or one file to another and start editing them as I need them. So I will open folder instead of opening a file, though I want to modify a file. But what I do is to open a folder, and the folder that I will select is the src folder. That's in the venv folder. I click on that and select folder. So you can see inside src is where I have Django app and Django project. And inside Django project, you remember there is the setting file, and in that setting file is where we're gonna go and register the app that we created, which is Django app. So to make it easy, I'll just select that, click copy, paste it just below that, and change the text to the name of the app, Django app, and save. So from here we can now go back to PowerShell and type python manage.py, make migrations, one word. Alright, and then we do again python manage.py, migrate. So this command will do is the make migration. Obviously it's not needed in this case, but migrate, what it does is it will look at the app that we created, or inside the app that came with Django. It will take all those things and then create a database, which will be an SQLite file. Sort of by default, Django comes with SQLite, and it's a file that is that acts as a database that comes by default with Django, and it will create that file, and within that file it will create all the tables that comes pre-installed or by default with Django. Now if I press enter, you will see a lot of tables are being created, applying that, and so on. So all of these files or all of these tables are being installed or copied or created in a file, which is sitting right here. You can see this db.sql. Before that command, this file wasn't here, so inside this file is where all those tables have been created. But later we'll convert this app and then we'll configure this app to store all the information in MySQL. But this generally is how you install Django in Microsoft Windows 10, but it applies to other Windows as well. So from here I will go back to PowerShell and run the server again by typing python manage.py, run server, and then the server will run, and we can confirm that the server is running fine by just refreshing on that, and it worked. So this is how you install Django in Microsoft Windows 10, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it was useful to you. And if you really like this video and you want to see a lot more videos from us, please click on the subscribe button, and please also make sure the bell icon is selected so that you will have notification from us, and we will make sure we keep on posting videos every week. So click on that subscribe button so that you'll be alerted anytime we upload a video. Thanks, and see you in the next video.